All right, buckle up because we're about to dive into one of the wildest stories in the history of finance. It's a tale of ambition, hubris and, well, some seriously terrible decisions. This is the story of how one guy, yes, just one, managed to single-handedly destroy Barings Bank, a 233-year-old British institution that had survived everything from world wars to the Napoleonic era. Enter Nick Leeson, the trader who took go big or go home a little too literally. The rise of Nick Leeson, the Golden Boy. Our story begins with Nick Leeson, a young, ambitious trader who somehow found himself in Singapore, running Barings' trading operations in the mid-90s. For a bank as old and prestigious as Barings, this was the equivalent of letting a rookie pilot fly Air Force One. But hey, Nick had charisma, and the folks at Barings thought, what could go wrong? Leeson started off as a golden boy. He was making big money for Barings, and they loved him for it. They even let him handle both trading and back-office operations, the part where they keep track of all the money. Spoiler alert, this is never a good idea. It's like letting someone bet on a horse race, while also being the one who declares the winner. Now, when you're a hotshot trader, sometimes trades go south. No big deal, right? Just admit the loss and move on. But not our boy Nick. Oh no. Instead of owning up to some bad trades, he decided to hide them. And where did he stash these losses? In a secret account he creatively named 88888. Why that number? Maybe he thought it was lucky. Spoiler, it wasn't. At first it was just a few $1 million in losses. Sure, that sounds bad, but nothing Barings couldn't handle. But Nick, being the gambler he was, thought he could make it all back. So he doubled down. Then he tripled down. Soon the losses in his secret account were growing faster than a toddler on a sugar rush. Fast forward to January 1995, and Nick is sitting on a mountain of losses, hoping to trade his way out of the mess. But then, just when things couldn't get worse, the Kobe earthquake hit Japan. The Japanese stock market tanked, and Nick's already risky bets turned into a financial disaster. At this point, the losses in his secret 88888 account had ballooned to $1.4 billion. Yes, billion. That's more than Barings Bank's entire capital. And the best part? No one at Barings back in London had any clue because Nick had been hiding it all. As it became impossible to cover up the disaster, Nick's world started crashing down. He did what any reasonable person would do when they've just bankrupted a centuries-old bank. He ran away. That's right. He fled to Malaysia, thinking he could just disappear like a bad movie villain. Back in London, the news broke that Barings Bank had lost more money than it actually had, all thanks to Nick Leeson's rogue trading. The British government and financial regulators were in shock. Barings Bank, the same institution that once financed the Louisiana Purchase, had been brought to its knees by one rogue trader. And guess how much it sold for? £1. That's right. Barings Bank was sold to ING for the price of a cheap sandwich. Imagine buying a legendary financial institution for less than what you'd pay for a cup of coffee. Nick didn't get far in his runaway attempt. He was eventually caught and extradited to Singapore, where he was sentenced to 6.5 years in prison. Not exactly the glamorous life of a high-flying trader he'd imagined. To add insult to injury, while Nick was locked up, he even published a book titled Rogue Trader, which was later turned into a movie starring Ewan McGregor. Yes, the guy who destroyed a bank got a book deal and a movie. Only in finance, right? As for Barings, it ceased to exist as an independent bank. After 233 years of surviving everything the world threw at it, Barings was wiped out by one man's bad bets and a secret account with a bunch of eights in it. The collapse of Barings Bank was one of the biggest financial scandals of the 20th century. And it taught the world a valuable lesson. Never, ever let one person handle both the trading and the books. It also showed just how fragile even the oldest and most prestigious institutions can be when there's a lack of oversight. So next time you're thinking of placing a big bet, maybe keep an eye on your account 88888, just in case. And if your job ever puts you in charge of both making the trades and keeping track of them, just don't. And that, my friends, is the legendary tale of how one man toppled an empire. Please like and subscribe for more.